time, and we're going to probably have a series because we got a lot of stuff coming down the pike. Okay, so this was kind of like a pre-meeting to get you guys where we're at, what's happening with the valuation increase, how it has impacted Springfield local schools. Financials. We're going to have two parts. I'm going to go over the financials, which is, I know a lot of people. It's like, but then our superintendent's going to get up and give you a vision of what's coming and the process. It's a little different than a lot of districts. As you well know, we're under oversight by the Department of Education. So we're in the final stages of coming up with a new financial recovery plan. And once that plan is submitted and approved by OWE, then it'll move over to the auditor of the state. They will then bring up some people to make sure my books are okay, which is fine because we're meeting weekly with my oversight commission, which is kind of, a lot of people don't like it. It's part of our life now, so it gives me a better confidence that the stuff that we're producing has more eyes on it, and that's the key. The better, if you have 4 or 5 treasurers looking at it, and these people are just are retired treasurers, so it's nice. It's nice for us. It's nice for me. So I want to go through some of the key numbers that have changed. The first one is obviously, as we all know, not all of us, but everybody that lives in Summit County received a property tax bill. And in all probability, most of you, it went up like it did mine, okay? I was even kind of surprised at how much mine went up. So what happened is, as you can see here, this is 23, this is last year. This is what happened to us this year, okay? It was significant. I'm not going to lie. This is what we get from the state, which is just the opposite. It's not significant. They flatlined us this year for the budget, 2 years. So we had major increase, about a little over $2 million in property revenue for the district. What we're doing is, Dustin, if you want to go on just a little bit, I'll tell you when to stop. Okay, right now, as you can see, it allowed us to have cash reserves, right? Ideally, ODE, ODW, if they call it now, they want all this right here. They want this line to show positive numbers all the way across. Well, you see what happens after 3 years. We drop off the cliff. And the reason we drop off the cliff is our renewals, which the taxpayers in almost every situation has passed, they have to be brought what I call below the line. I can't show them up below until they pass. It's not legal, basically. So if you go down, now here's the numbers right here. These are critical. These are the renewals. Our renewals at Springfield, there's 5 of them, okay? 4 of them are to the general fund, and one small one is an old PI, which doesn't generate nearly enough to keep our old buildings afloat. But they represent 42% of our property taxes. Now the renewals, the one good thing about renewals, you're already paying for them. They don't increase your taxes. But without the renewals, our district in a few short years it'll cease to exist probably when you lose 50% of your revenue. We can't run a district. We're already bare bones right now. We all know what we've cut, programs we've cut in the secondary schools, how many people we've laid off. But if you took out $6.69 million out of our budget, it would just be catastrophic. I mean, I don't know how we would do it. But, here's another thing I forgot to say. That 3.77 mil levy, it's gone away. There's no reason for it. We cannot expect the taxpayers to pass a levy after the county-wide valuation increase. And let's remind everybody, that was not something the school districts or the county auditors wanted to do. They just didn't. The county auditors didn't want it. They're elected officials. This came from the Department of Taxation. And it came about because of the historical price increases to our housing. There are some people that believe our housing prices are just getting up to the level other parts of the country are. We were undervalued for years, northeastern Ohio was, and now they're at market share. And sales are proving that theory right. Homes are still going out, getting listed, even at twice the old interest rate. My sons bought a house between 2 3/4 and 3.5% 3 years ago. 3 of them did. Now the best rate you can get with good credit is about 6.5%. It's still not stopping people from buying homes. They're snatching them up as quick as they're listing them. And the value, here's the most important part. The value has not gone down. Usually when the interest rates go up, values of your homes go down. That's not the case now. So Columbus might have it right. I don't know. Either way, it was a surprise to a lot of people in the state of Ohio. So with the 3.77 going away, it pretty much, what the countywide valuation change did was offset that. It was the same, a little more actually. But it didn't change the fiscal health of the district. It paused it for about 2 years, which is good. We need to pause. You know, I've been doing this for 15 years here, and it's probably the first time, other than a year after I got here, maybe in 11, when things started, we could breathe again. And it's nice. It's nice that the district has the potential, with the passage of the renewals, to be able to breathe again, and not just for a year. We're talking 4, 5, 6 years. And if you have 4 or 5, 6 years of fiscal health, then there's a lot of things that our leader and our board can do to benefit the community, benefit our children, benefit our employees, and that's what we need around here. This district is starving, as I tell my friends, for good news. And although this is good news, but you know, until the renewals are passed, it's not great news. It'll be great news in November. We put 3 on this November. We put 2 on next November. And again, I can't stress this enough, the renewals do not raise your taxes. That's the key. It's not new money. It's money that was approved long before I got here. So that's the goal right here, is if you move down, Dustin, to the very end, with the renewals, building revenue, just like every other district, they go like a 3 to 4 year cycle, and then it starts going down. That's a normal bell curve that you have in schools. You pass a levy, your cash balance goes up for the first couple of years, then about year 3.5 to 4, it starts going down, then you have to put another levy on. Now, we all hope, we could be like a lot of other states in the country where you don't depend on property taxes to keep your schools running. We're one of the few in the country that do it. But I don't see that changing anytime soon. I wish it would. It would relieve a lot of angst for our senior citizens, But with renewal passage, that's the key. Think about this. Look at the difference between 27 and 28, about $1.2 million. So you could pretty much assume that we can go out to 2029, maybe even 2030. If the state decides to give us a better share than they did the last budget, then they can go on even farther. And we do have people wanting to move in here. I drive around all the time in these new developments. They're building them. The one right off of Sanitarium seems to have another patch of land they cleared off, and you see the ads, and And they're selling those things as quick as they can build them. It's just amazing. So it's not like people don't want to move in here. With that type of growth, invariably you're going to have young kids, which is good. That's what we need. We want to keep our kindergarten classes packed, and that's just good for the district. What we're going to do now is Shelley's going to get up and she's going to talk about the things that may be coming down the pike. And it's important to understand that we meet tomorrow with the state commission. So we should know fairly soon what our final plan is. It's called a financial recovery plan. Once that's finalized, I will put it on the internet, but I'll make sure you find people, I'll get a hard copy with my cell phone number, and you can get a hold of me. Thanks, everybody.
All right, so thanks, Chris.
No
so I want to reiterate to the point that, our goal, when you look at that going to 2028, our goal is to make that money last as long as we can. Because, to make it for as long as we can, so we're not back in a situation like we were. So, one of the things that we said that we were going to do if the levy passed, when we were running our levy committee meetings, there was, our community members, our family members, gave us some things that were very important to them to come back if the levy should pass. Well, being that, we had the property tax reevaluation, we felt it was important for us to look at what the community had said that they wanted to come back on this first round, and we put together a plan. So, what's important first to know about this plan is what's there in the red. Pending approval by the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, we are still in fiscal watch. We have to get approval by the state before we can implement anything. We're meeting with them tomorrow, and we're meeting with them on Friday. We have meetings coming up like twice a week with them, because their goal for us is to get us out of fiscal watch. Now, one of the things that they've said is that there's been no school that's ever gone from fiscal watch to out. So we're Springfield, and we know that we do things differently here, so we're going to be the first in the state to go from fiscal watch, not going to fiscal emergency, but going out. They feel very confident with us that we're going to go out, so we're going to keep our fingers crossed. So the first round of, I don't know what we call them, bringbacks, I think, is, like I said, is what we heard from our community during the levy campaign. And let's start with the middle one. Of course, one of the things we talked about was full busing, bringing it back. We know that's important. We know that for attendance purpose for our kids. We know for the safety of our kids. I mean, if you've ever walked down Sanitarium right after the high school gets out, it is dangerous. Those kids, there's no sidewalks. Those kids are walking in the street. So bringing back full busing for the 24-25 school year. So that was the number one that our community has shared with us what's important. Number two is safety. We said that if the levy was going to pass, we would get another SRO officer in our building. So each one of our buildings would have an SRO officer all the time. Right now, the high school has theirs, and Officer Down goes in between Schrock and Spring Hill. So right now, if approved by the state, we're going to keep our fingers crossed, we're going to bring back, we'll add another resource officer. Another thing that was very important for our community was our pay to play. Our pay to play right now, tell me if I'm wrong, is $300 per student per sport with no cap. That's a hardship on a lot of our families. And what do we know about extracurricular activities? We know that when we have extracurricular activities, the kids are more engaged at school, they're less likely to get in trouble, and it makes, better for your schools. So our goal for that is for our pay to participate fees will decrease to $150 per sport, but a new $600 cap per family. So hopefully maybe some kids, some families who had to choose between one sport and another sport, maybe now that they'll be able to play two sports. With the understanding that I know we still do a lot of fundraising through our sports to help kids with pay to play, to continue that practice. We don't want to not continue that practice. So those threes were pretty easy givens. Now, we were talking a lot about bringing back different programs. There are so many programs that we have to bring back to benefit our kids. We realize that. So when coming up with the plan, we wanted to know where are we going to get the best bang for our buck? Where can we get K-12, where they're going to benefit, where the majority of our students, we have about 1,800 kids. Who's going to be the majority of our kids that are going to benefit? So the plan that we came up with was to increase music and art classes K-12. So right now, our kids in elementary school only get about 30 minutes of art and 30 minutes of music a week. You can't do anything in 30 minutes. Time you get down there, you sit down, you got 10 minutes of singing, whatever you sing, music school thing, and then you're done. Art, what are you going to do? You're going to sit down and pull out your pencils or whatever. So, what we want to do is we want to increase music and art. So, Springfield and Schrock will each have a music teacher, an art teacher, and a PE teacher. That also benefits teachers because now that we have more specials and with more time, we can do more collaborative planning with the teachers. Because now it's not a half hour if you're just running to the bathroom. If we make the specials about 50 minutes each, give or take, it gives more time for the teachers. For the high school, offering a junior high art teacher and offering a new technology. We want to bring in coding for girls. We want to bring in robotics. We want to bring in the different software manufacturing, different things that other schools offer technology-wise. So we're looking at this plan for the first year. Now, once we get on a fiscal watch, each year we're going to look at what else can we bring back. You know, if I can go like that, bring everything back at one time, I would love to. But we can't. So we have to prioritize. So this, we felt, because, and one of the things that we also did with this for our thinking was all our kids sitting in study hall at the high school. That's not, sitting in study hall is not good for anybody. So offering more electives for our kids to go to is why we thought with the arts for that. Okay? Again, in red, pending approval by the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. Believe me, I think they were very angry with me the last time we met because I was not a happy camp with them because I just assumed, silly me, that we could just go right ahead and do this. And they were like, oh no, put the brakes on it, sweetheart. We cannot. You have to get it approved. So, and I know you've taken pictures, please take pictures of this. You know, it's not finalized. Once we do get it finalized, we will have this out everywhere so people can see. Any questions on what we are bringing back for the first year? And I want to emphasize the first year. We understand that it is a rolling, and we need to bring back more. We want to bring back more things for our gift. We want to bring more higher level courses in our high school, more different electives for our high school, more opportunities for our elementary. So, slow, because, oh, and, let me do one question. We are going to be very financially frugal when we're doing this. One of the things that we have to fill in right now is what Chris called a financial recovery plan. I'm going to tell you what, it's a fantastic tool. It is a tool that we are going to be using from now on because we can plug in our 5-year forecast. We can plug in, okay, we've got this many retirements, we've got this many new teachers, this is how much money we can play with, and we are going to use that to help us budget our money. We are not, you know, one of the problems that a lot of schools have when they get the money is they get excited, and they're like, oh, yes, fight and bring this blah, and then you're right back where you belong. No, we're not doing that. We are going to be financial frugal. We are going to get the input from the people who it matters from to make sure that what we're bringing back is what is needed, and from community members, from teachers, from staff, from parents. So, not questions. I get it. Okay, thank you. So, we're kind of excited about this. You know, I'm not gonna lie. After last year's having to cut again, sitting in a meeting and saying, "Ooh, what can we bring back?" was a little bit exciting. I don't know if we knew exactly how to do it, because we were gigging for a little bit, but then we said, okay, you know what? This is going to get us K-12 for everybody.
And again, I want to emphasize, if you talk to your fellow neighbors and stuff, the renewals do not add a dime to their taxes. It's very critical. The renewals will allow us to breathe for 5 or 6 years. It will allow us, as you know, we have an aging workforce here in Springfield. We're one of the oldest. If you have an average teacher service, we're over 20 years. I mean, we're 5, 6, 7 years over the average. There's going to be potential changes to the retirement system. We could have a larger than normal group of individuals that decided they're going to retire. As they retire and we rehire younger people, we'll incur savings. Well, the plan is, with that savings, we can incorporate that and allow us to have more programs and opportunities. So that's going to happen. It's going to happen. In our district, it will happen. So it's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that I was, and this is just me thinking out loud, when we went back to could you go back to the 5-year forecast for a second? Could you go down to where we're in the, okay. So, when I first looked at this, and my stomach turned a little bit, not gonna lie, that, okay, 3 years, and then if our renewals don't pass, we're right back where we started from. Because think about it, if our renewals don't pass, we're gonna have to start looking at a levy again next year. And we know that's not gonna pass, right? So, my thinking was, maybe we don't bring anything back. It's not, shaking a little bit and have a look. Maybe we don't bring anything back until after the renewals pass. I said, no, you know what, no. We made a promise to our community that if the levy was gonna pass, or we were gonna get some money somehow, we were gonna bring these back. But with the understanding that if our renewals don't pass, they're going away again. So, is it fair to say, okay, we're gonna bring it back and we'll take it away again? No, my hope is that we bring it here, we remember what we have, and we remember how good it is. And people are gonna say, you know what, yes, that renewal is important. We are gonna vote for that renewal. So we can keep moving forward, because you know what, we are going to bring Springfield back to what it should be. Yes?
Can you explain the renewals? If it doesn't come from new money, where does the money come from?
It's already insured, their taxes that are already in your statement, or trying to pay your taxes. It's just renewing, so when you pass the levy, it's every 5 years. This is saying, okay, that levy's done, we're just going to just renew it. There's different kinds of levies. Like right now, I think the Twins are doing a replacement levy. So that would be like doing a renewal levy and adding a little bit more to it. We're not. We're just saying, you're already paying this amount of money, we just want you to continue paying that amount of money.
So if it doesn't pass, then that amount decreases then?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, it does. It does decrease, and then that's where we get,
Gotcha.
and most districts really, truly live on their renewals. If they're budgeting their money correctly, they live on the renewals. And something too, we felt was very important was that even when we put the emergency levy on, we only put it on for 5 years, because it's very important that the community knows what's happening every 5 years. There's some schools, districts out there that kind of sneak in a 10-year one, okay, or they even sneak in a forever one, and people don't realize what they're doing when we sit down. Same thing with our renewals. Like sometimes you can do your renewals, and we can put it back on and say it's going to be a forever renewal. No, we want to make sure that our community knows what's happening every 5 years.
So if you're putting 3 on in November,
Yes.
then is it a chance 1 out of the 3 would pass, or is it abundant?
It's possible, I mean, because there's been a precedent.
There's could be 0 to pass, 1 to pass, 2 to pass, 3 to pass. Historically here, only one time since I've been here has one failed. They always pass because they know, they've been here forever. They've been here for over 20 years. So people know what they are.
That's a good question. That's a good
The
question.
ones we have a hard time with are new ones.
And, Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, but that number there, that's if all three don't pass.
Correct.
Yes. So that would be if all three don't pass.
Have we discovered a way to combine some of these so they're not so many renewals so often?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
We are going to be looking at all the different levy languages that we can, except for the ones that add. We're not going to want to add anything. The only danger if you roll 3 into 1, it doesn't pass, then we start panicking because we're talking a lot of money. I still have faith in this community. I still believe that since they passed it, since they're going to see good things happen, they're going to want to keep without any increase. They already got hit with this countywide valuation increase.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, so, yes,
So
right.
you're putting 3 on in the presidential in
Yes.
2025. Why not for primaries, or do they not go on during primaries instead of like all at once? I mean, I don't know.
We're only allowed to put them on a year in advance, and so it's the last one in November. I know it's a bad election, but
No,
It's
no,
gonna be a
people,
three-
people will vote that election. They'll all come out.
they will all come out. You can guarantee it.
Because they will go out and vote.
Right.
They will.
So if I'm understanding correctly, if it doesn't pass in November, we don't panic just yet because we have the whole year to
Right.
pass it.
Correct.
So that's why we're doing it in November. So if it's for some unforeseen reason that it does not pass in November, we can then put it back on in March and then put it back
That's
on.
what I was asking.
Correct.
I know what's going on, like this November, and that's fine. But then it said, I wrote down 3 in 2025.
Right.
Two.
So you are putting 2. So
3
this
in
is
24, 2 in 25.
Okay.
But remember, we put them on a year in advance, just in case something goes wrong. So if one doesn't pass in 24, we'll put it on as soon as we can in 25, and still put the 2 on the PI fund, Permanent Improvement Fund, and the last renewal will go on in November of 25.
So 2 will go on November of 2025 or during the primary, and then the big November one of 2025. So will they be, like, there's a March election this year.
Right.
Will they go on March or May of next year?
Right.
And then November, so
Right.
there's the 3.
Right, so the first one we could not put on until November because we have to do it a year in advance. Or we could try to do it like in March.
Okay, I get it.
Yes, good clarification. All right, anything else?
I promise the next one's gonna be a little longer, but we felt that we had to get this out, let everybody know what we're thinking, because the financial recovery plan is going to iron itself out soon. So this is kind of like, hey, this is what's gonna come down the pike, and when it does, then we're gonna have a more extensive, we'll actually show the recovery plan, because we can't show that now because it hasn't been approved yet. Once it's approved, then we'll show it. But again, it's difficult. I like this format a little better because this stuff right here, most people it just, I know,
So, we're meeting with the state tomorrow,
come on.
and then, what, they want to meet with us again this week. So the first step then is our financial recovery plan has to be approved by the board. So next Tuesday, whatever it is, 12th, I think it is, next Tuesday, our financial recovery plan will be up for board approval. Once it's up for board approval, the plan then goes back to the states, and then they take it to the auditor. Then the auditor looks at it. If the auditor says we are okay with it, they will then tell us that we are out of fiscal watch. Okay. If not, then we have to do the whole process over again.
Can you tell everyone when it is approved, when we will implement that stuff?
Yes, that's good. So that was one of the reasons, So you might be asking, why are you putting this out here, if it's pending approval by the, from DEW? The reason is because once we get that approval for that FRP, this is going into effect immediately. So they told us a couple of months. So we're already preparing ourselves for this, because we have all the faith in the world that things are gonna go our way from now on, that, this is gonna be implemented right away. So, busing will be next year. This will all be implemented next year. We've already started talking with the police about hiring an SRO. We've already started, talking about what we're gonna do for sports, and we've been talking with Melinda about busing. So we're getting the ball rolling, because as soon as we get that okay, we're shooting right out of the gate, we're doing this. And we will have another meeting then to say that this is good. And we will have this posted everywhere then, without that red, saying it is approved. So.
I'm bad with when the scheduling start thing, but when do you think, I should know this, I've heard it enough, the approval could come?
We're hoping May.
So that means the kids are going to be scheduling
So,
before, so we'll have to redo that.
so Michelle is already doing, Mrs. Warner is already kind of doing two schedules.
Yeah, well, that I.
Yes.
Schedules are written.
Yeah.
It should be built on student requests.
Right, so yeah, it's gonna be tricky the first time, but we're hoping that it's, you know what? From what we hear, there's about 25 schools that are now in fiscal oversight. We're hoping that they're saying, bye-bye Springfield, we don't want to work with you anymore. We got these 25 new schools and it might go faster. The auditor might say, hey, this is the best financial recovery plan I've ever seen. Let's just approve it. So, yeah, that part's a little shaky. Not so much for the elementary, because they're able to do it for the high school. But I think Mrs. Warren has already started talking, figuring out which kids, for the arts.
It's
And that's-
possible, I just wondered.
It's hard work. It's gonna be a busy summer for that. That's a good question. And a good part. So we're excited. We haven't had some good news like this in a long time. And it's nice to be in a meeting saying we're bringing things back instead of saying we're cutting. For that. So, all right. Chris, do you have anything else?
Nope, next time it'll be at least an hour, so.
Well, hopefully that it's ready